Alright guys, so today I'm going to be breaking down my Call of Duty tier list and explaining the rankings. This list will contain every Call of Duty to this day, from the first game all the way to this year's Modern Warfare. Although there is a new Call of Duty game coming out in a couple months, which I'm pretty sure is a Black Ops reboot called Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I figured I'd just make this video right now. So yeah, anyways, we'll get into the video right now. Okay, so I'm going to rank them starting from the bottom tiers all the way to the top tiers. So right here we have the haven't played tier, the trash tier, and the D tier. Starting off with the haven't played tier. I haven't played the first 3 games of this series, and I haven't really heard much from them besides they're either pretty good or just decent. I also have not played Call of Duty Mobile, but I've seen some gameplay from it and it just looks okay because you have to take into consideration that it's really just a mobile game. I do like how they bring back some throwback maps to previous games and some cool guns though. Now in the trash tier there is Infinite Warfare. I personally don't like this game, nor have I played it, but it's for that exact reason. It doesn't look like a Call of Duty game and it just looks really weird. Fun fact, it's actually the most disliked video game trailer of all time. Now on to the D tier, we have World War II. And I know a lot of people did like this game, and I didn't necessarily hate the game, but when you compare it to the other games, it's one of the least fan favorite ones of the series. I thought the story was really good and the graphics for it were amazing, but the multiplayer was really bad. They did end up fixing the multiplayer, but by that time, it lost lots of its players, so its life cycle just wasn't that great, which is why it's in D tier. Moving on to C tier, firstly there's Advanced Warfare, and I gotta say that this game wasn't as bad as people made it seem. I actually found the exosuits fun to use, and the movement in that game was really different in a good way. This is one of the few games where I have not played the campaign, but for a game in 2014, I thought it looked great. I didn't like how the zombies costed money and how there were microtransactions, but it was bearable compared to the other games. Next up, there's Call of Duty Ghosts. I thought Ghosts had some pretty good guns, some decent maps, and some pretty good game modes. The game was hated on for some reason, even though I consider it a pretty decent game. The campaign was pretty good, and same for the multiplayer, especially the Michael Myers game mode, but I think C tier is where it belongs, at least in my opinion. We have a lot of games coming up in the B tier, starting with Black Ops 3. I have a lot to say about this game, so we'll just start with the weaker side of the game, the campaign. When the game was announced, I was actually excited to play it, but when I saw what it was about, I was really disappointed. It wasn't like the usual Black Ops campaigns, and I found that weird. Black Ops 3 also had one of the most refreshing and entertaining multiplayers in a while. This is also the game that introduced the specialists. I know I said Advanced Warfare was good, but I do prefer this game a lot more. The exosuit was really original, including the wall run, which did introduce the game mode called Free Run, where you test your wall running and movement skills and get time to complete courses. The game had really cool guns, game modes, and maps, like Nuketown, which is iconic and was obviously from the original Black Ops game, Hunted, Fringe, and my personal favorite, Combine. I thought the black market was pretty cool until they added the most overpowered weapons on it, so the game slowly started to become pay to win. In my opinion, I thought Black Ops 3 had the best zombies mechanically. They fixed a lot of scuffed things from the previous games and also introduced one of the best perks in zombies history, Widow's Wine. The game made some fan favorite maps with challenging but entertaining Easter eggs, and even brought back the classic maps from World at War, Black Ops 1, and Origins from Black Ops 2. Although it personally has the best zombies mechanically out of every game, for nostalgic purposes, Black Ops 1 and 2 are still my favorite when it comes to the zombies. So with a great multiplayer and zombies and a pretty bad campaign, I think it deserves just to be in B tier. Moving on to Black Ops 4. This game is one of the most hated games in the Call of Duty series, but personally, I really like this game. I'm sad that there wasn't a campaign and they replaced it with some very poor version of a campaign showing cutscenes after playing tutorials of each specialist. But they did introduce the infamous Battle Royale, Blackout. Blackout had a very mixed audience, and it's pretty much split between the people who enjoy it and the people who don't. I personally thought it was great, although difficult and different. I actually really enjoyed the multiplayer, although there was a change because of the time to kill taking longer than the other games with the added armor and the optional healing with the stim shots. The guns were also pretty good, and so were the maps, such as the remakes like Summit, Nuketown, Slums, Firing Range, Grind, and the newer ones like Arsenal and Seaside. Black Ops 4 Zombies is what really killed the game, as of course when the game came out, the Zombies community went to search for the Easter eggs and the game would always crash on Zombies and multiplayer. This caused a lot of players to stop playing the games by the time that they addressed and fixed these issues. Although the Zombies did introduce a new story called Chaos Story, which are some new characters other than the traditional 4 in the Ether story, lots of people actually really liked their story, including me. Of course I didn't like it as much as the Ether story, but I'm glad they made it. This is also the game where they do conclude the 10+ year long journey of the Ether storyline. Overall, I think this is a good game, although it was only slightly worse than Black Ops 3, but the main reason I'm going to still keep it in B tier is because of the Battle Pass giving really good rewards and Blackout. Next up, Modern Warfare, the game that started the amazing trilogy back in 2007. I don't have much to say since I haven't played much of the original and I've only played more of the remastered version, but I thought this game was great. The campaign and the multiplayer were both really fun, and this game is definitely one of the more basic games, but I find it amazing. Microtransactions definitely ruined the remastered version, but nonetheless, I thought they were both really good. Now on to this year's Modern Warfare. This game is really different, as if it's a mix between the original Modern Warfares and Rainbow Six Siege, especially because of the mounting. I thought this game did a great job for a complete reboot of the series because the story was great, so was the gameplay and graphics. I really did enjoy the multiplayer until quarantine started because that forced people to stay inside and play 10 hours a day, so the lobbies were just really filled with sweats. I honestly didn't touch the special ops, nor was I interested in it, but I did love Warzone. I honestly think Warzone is a top 3 contender for the best battle royales of all time, and without Warzone, I personally don't think this game would have made it to the B tier. World at War is the first title in the Black Ops storyline, and I've actually never really owned that game, but I've only played the multiplayer and the zombies. I thought the multiplayer was pretty good, but I have little experience with it. I have played the zombies, of course, and I loved it. It's the game that started it all for the zombies story, and this is when COD Zombies first blew up. I think that this game belongs here because it's the first game that started the amazing series, and including an amazing game mode. Now, I know I have little room to talk for this game because I have very little experience, but I have to give credit where credit is due because it did start the Black Ops storyline and started one of the most popular game modes in COD, obviously, zombies. Okay, so now in the A tier we have Modern Warfare 2. I know lots of people would disagree and put this game in the S tier, but I just haven't had enough experience with the game in its prime. I thought the multiplayer was really good and really an improved version of the original Modern Warfares, but once again, I didn't get to play in its prime with everyone on the game. I thought the campaign was amazing, and it even had one of the most iconic video game moments of all time when Shepard killed Ghost. I'm also really looking forward to them remastering the multiplayer of that, since they already did the campaign. Next we have Modern Warfare 3, and I'm not going to say much about it because Modern Warfare 2 and 3 are very similar. I thought that it had a better multiplayer, although I did love the intervention of Modern Warfare 2. But I didn't like the campaign as much because I didn't think it was as interesting as the second game. I also thought Special Ops was pretty good too, so it was a really good game overall. Okay, so now we're on to the A+ tier or the S tier, and it's pretty obvious what the two games are, but these two games are my favorite games in the series, and even my favorite games of all time alongside some other games. Black Ops 1 and 2. These games are so nostalgic to me, especially Black Ops 1 because that and Halo 3 are the first games I played on the 360. I'll start firstly with Black Ops 1, and this game had personally the best campaign out of every Call of Duty game. The campaign is so intriguing and interesting. There's so many cool characters that they develop really well during the game. You have the main character, Mason, and then there's Woods, Hudson, Bowman, and Carlos. There's even cool enemies in the game like Castro, Kravchenko, and Steiner. I mean, watch the beginning clip of the campaign and look how cool it is.
Woods, it's been a while.
Not enough, Carlos. You know Bowman, right?
Just be there.
Excellent. You got company.
Saquen los papeles. Ahora.
¡Sal de aquí, puta capitalista!
¡No me
Oye,
toques, hijo de
¿de dónde
puta!
tú eres? I said, where are you from?
Just be cool, Woods. Wait.
Talking to you!
All right, Everything is ready.
Gear up, boys.
The way they start off the campaign is the best and most creative way possible, as you're being interrogated and you remember each mission since you're basically playing flashbacks to what happened. I mean, not only that, but the literal menu screen of the game is the interrogation room from the campaign. The visuals of this game still hold up 10 years later. I mean, you can't see how good it is in this video because I ported this from YouTube, but go check it out yourself and you'll see. I find this campaign to be the best campaign in the series and one of my favorite stories of all time. The multiplayer in this game was also amazing, with some fan favorites today like the original Nuketown, Firing Range, Stadium, Array, Jungle, Radiation, Summit, and many more. The kill streaks were also really cool, with ones like the RCXD, the Sentry Gun, and even the Napalm Strike. They introduced a money system where every game you'd earn money to buy guns, attachments, camos, kill streaks, and face paint for your characters. Now the zombies was even more nostalgic with maps like Moon, Call of the Dead, and the BO1 classic Kino der Toten. The game introduced a bunch of new perks and amazing wonder weapons like the Thunder Gun, the Gersh device, the Winter Salad, and even more. The map Kino is really nostalgic to me because I loved playing it back then on the 360. Personally, I consider this Call of Duty a complete masterpiece. Now finally on our list, Black Ops 2. The game many people consider the best game of the series, which I don't disagree with, but you also have to take into consideration the game that got us here, Black Ops 1. That game set up perfectly for a sequel, and here it is. I thought this game's campaign was really good with a time jump to the year 2025. Although this game isn't entirely in 2025, it starts off in 1980 and has jumps between those two times. During the 1980 period, you're playing as Alex Mason from Black Ops 1, and in 2025 you play as David Mason, the son of Alex Mason. I thought the characters in this game were pretty good, with the main antagonist being Raul Menendez. I feel with a sequel like this, we could have seen much more of what happened between Black Ops 1 and 2, but this sequel does end up doing time jumps smoothly. I don't want to go too much into detail for one mode in the game, but to sum it up, I thought it was amazing. The multiplayer in this game is what it did best. It introduced some of my favorite maps today like Raid, Standoff, Hijack, Turbine, Grind, and many more. The game also brought back maps like Nuketown and Studio, which is the remake of Firing Range. The game brought countless incredible guns and camos. This was the game where friends put each other to the test to see who was the best. On Nuketown, using my personal favorite sniper, the Ballista. I found this game's multiplayer to be the best out of every game, with so much replayability with the amazing maps and game modes. Now, the zombies. I really still haven't decided whether I prefer Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 zombies, but they both have their pros and cons, which I don't feel like talking about. This game had amazing maps like Transit, Buried, Town, my personal two favorites, Origins and Mob of the Dead. The game introduced the Wonder Fizz and the Staffs from Origins, along with many other wonder weapons. The game also had challenging yet amazing Easter eggs. I have countless hours on this game and still don't get tired of playing it. So, that pretty much wraps up the video. Let me know your thoughts on the list and what you change. If you made it this far, leave a like and subscribe. Shout out to Samuel for making the thumbnail. The link to his channel is in the description. By the way guys, the VGC video I made with Samuel is up on my channel. Go check it out right now if you haven't. Anyways, that's pretty much it. See ya.